Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special edition of the Double H Show. Today we're talking Colts and Jim Irsay. We're looking ahead to the national championship game, and we're talking Penn State football and their new hiring of Bill O'Brien. Get ready, this is the Double H Show. Jim Irsay, president and owner of the Colts, says he's not, let me repeat that, he is not going to trade Peyton Manning. Now, whether they're going to pick up his contract in March, that is yet to be seen. But for the moment, they're not going to trade Peyton, and they are going to draft Andrew Luck. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The reason I don't like this move is because, yes, Andrew Luck will be Peyton's understudy for maybe 3 years. Maybe Peyton has 3 years left. Who knows with that neck? But say he's there for 3 years and he doesn't play. And he comes in. He's already a great talent, so he comes in and he's playing well. But the thing is, by that time, he will have no talent around him. If the Colts go 3 more years with the players they have now, Reggie Wayne, Pierre Garçon, and they have no run game to begin with. So when it's Andrew Luck's time to take over the team, there's not going to be any talent around him. And yes, you have a great quarterback, but you need other players. Look at the Giants: Eli Manning, Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, tons of weapons on the offensive side. Aaron Rodgers with Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson and Ryan Grant, also many weapons. And of course, Drew Brees and the Saints, man, they just light it up all day. I would say that Tom Brady and the Patriots are probably the only team with not that much talent. Yes, Wes Welker and Gronkowski are good, but Brady makes those players great. And to ask Andrew Luck to take over his team in his 3rd year with barely any talent around him, I just don't think they're going to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I think with Andrew Luck and that sort of cast, they can be about a 10-6, 9-7, 11-5 team. But what I've been saying is that you should trade Peyton Manning. Because listen, there are tons of teams out there who are not only willing to trade for Peyton, but are willing to give up a lot. I mean, there are teams that will be willing to give up draft picks and players. And with those draft picks and players, the Colts can draft just tons of talent along with Andrew Luck. I mean, you can't just draft Andrew Luck and expect him to be great with a low talent class. You trade Peyton, you don't have to pay him all this money. I mean, he is one of the highest paid players in the league, and just with extra money and tons of draft picks and extra talented players, then I think they can be Super Bowl contenders, even with Andrew Luck playing either his 1st or 2nd year. He is the LeBron James of college football. Around college football, people said they have not seen a guy like this in 20 years. I mean, this kid is legit. He's going to be good. He will not be a bust. Just got to get talent to surround him. And they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders for a decade and probably a little more. But if you wait, he studies under Peyton, 3 years later, comes in with an older cast, not as much talent, don't think they're as good a football team. I really don't. And the whole Colts situation and how this is going to work out in the coming months, it's going to be pretty interesting. Also in college football news, Bill O'Brien, hired recently by Penn State as their new head football coach. And tons of alumni at Penn State are just flat out angry with the program. Some said they're completely done with Penn State, which to me makes no sense. How could you be done with the program you've loved all your life and just, what are you going to do, not watch the football games? I mean, it's absurd how they're reacting to this. Bill O'Brien may not be that big of a name, may have never been a head coach, but he still has knowledge. He's worked with Brady and Belichick. Anybody who's worked with those two has to have some sort of knowledge. I mean, people are just overreacting at Penn State. This is not that bad of a hire. And to begin with, even if you hired a big name, your program is still undergoing the lasting effects of the scandal. And Brady Hoke in Michigan and Urban Meyer at Ohio State and Wisconsin, they're still surpassing you in recruiting. And all those three programs are they're building up to be the top three in the nation soon. So I think Penn State, with whoever they have hired, it would have been tough anyway. So this is not that bad. People need to stop overreacting. they just need to stick with it, because sending bad vibes to your new head coach is not very good. A guy who's trying to take over the legacy of Joe Paterno, which is not an easy thing to do. So, that's my take on Penn State. We'll see what happens. I'm rooting for Bill O'Brien. I think he'll do a fine job, and hopefully he can turn around the program for the better, because it is one of the best programs and colleges in the nation. And ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. We are 4 hours and 18 minutes away from kickoff of the national championship game tonight. Alabama and LSU face off for the second time this season. LSU winning the first matchup 9-6 in overtime. My keys to the game: Alabama has to dominate the line of scrimmage. They have to. They have to get Trent Richardson the ball in space, and they have to give him seams so he can run. He was limited last game versus LSU. I think he's going to have a big game tonight. Also, the quarterback play for each team. I think whoever wins the quarterback battle in this game will have a huge edge in determining the outcome. McCarron for Alabama missed some throws last game that could have helped Alabama score a couple touchdowns. I think he will make those throws tonight. I think he will play better. I know it's going to be loud, and the crowd is definitely favoring LSU, but I think he'll be able to handle it. He's got enough talent around him and a great defense, and I think Alabama will be able to pull through. On the other side, LSU, Jefferson has to have a good game as well. Whether they run the option or they let him pull the trigger, he has to have a good game for LSU to win this national title. Remember, 8 p.m. starts pregame on ESPN, 8:30 kickoff. I'm taking Bama 17-13. Thanks for listening, everybody, to this special edition of the Double H Show. See you next time.